Hello, hello, welcome. I am Desmond Bertrand Pitts, CEO of the Buffalo Soldier National Museum. Happy Pride. All the month of June, we are celebrating Pride here at the museum. We're going to have conversations with men and women of the LGBT community who have served in our armed forces. We want to highlight them. We want to share their experiences and their stories with all of you and give you ways to support them and to encourage them in their journey after the services and for those who are still serving while they are in the service. So let's get started.
June is LGBT Pride Month, and we here at the Buffalo Soldier National Museum would like to honor all of those LGBTQ members of the armed forces. LGBT Pride Month occurs in the United States to commemorate the Stonewall riots, which occurred at the end of June 1969. As a result, many Pride events are held during the month of June to recognize the impact LGBT people have had on the world. In 1982, the military enacted a policy explicitly banning gay men and lesbians from service. Before that, however, same-sex relations were criminalized and a cause for discharge from service. In the early 1940s, it was classified as a mental illness, disqualifying gay men and lesbians from service. The Christopher Street Liberation Day on June 28, 1970, marked the first anniversary of the Stonewall riots with a march. This became the first gay pride march in New York City history and covered 51 blocks to Central Park. Fun fact, the parade permit was delivered only 2 hours before the start of the parade. In 2013, spousal and family benefits were extended to same-sex married partners in the military. After ending temporarily in 2016, the ban on transgender individuals was again rescinded in 2021, allowing those who don't identify with their biological gender to enlist and serve in the armed forces. On behalf of the Buffalo Soldier National Museum, we want to thank all of our LGBT members of the armed forces. In June, we celebrate you.
All right. Um, we love to start off with a moment in history, some knowledge to set the tone of the discussion that we're going to have. And today we have a good friend of mine, Mr. Adam Mayfield, who's going to share his story and his experience in the military. And yeah, we're happy to have you. We're excited about the discussion we're having today. So, how are you?
I'm doing well, Desmond. How are you?
I am pretty good, if I say so myself.
Yes, I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. So we're going to start with, I just said your name, but of course, repeat your name, give us the branch and your rank
Okay.
and pronouns.
All right. Well, my name is Adam Mayfield II. My rank is E5, which is Sergeant in the United States Marine Corps. I served from 96 to 2004.
I kind of want to start off. What made you join the armed forces?
Well, what made me join the armed forces? I've always been patriotic, and what helped that was to push me to signing. My best friend and I joined in a buddy program. This was a time where I was going to college, but I wasn't going to college. uh, I needed some structure and some guidance, but school wasn't for me at the time.
Okay, so that was the other option for you at the time was
Yes, it was.
joining.
Yes, it was.
Okay. So where did you serve? Bring me back through the time frame. Where did you serve? Are you currently serving?
Well,
Just a little history.
little history. I went to boot camp at MCRD, which is at Marine Corps Recruit Depot in San Diego, and that was a day after Marine Corps birthday, which is November 10th. So the next day was Veterans Day.
Veterans Day.
So
Yeah.
when I stepped foot in San Diego, that's when my boot camp for 3 months. 3 months in that institution. I don't regret it, and I enjoyed it, and I learned a lot from it.
Yeah. So how was boot camp? This is always a question that I just really love to ask because that experience I know is pretty rough, but how was it for you?
Well, for me, it wasn't rough physically, but mentally it was rough. I excelled in everything that I did. I graduated squad leader 3 months after I joined, but mentally it was a little bit challenging, but through prayer and also through fear, I got through it.
Yeah. So it's interesting that you bring up the mental health aspect of it. So your coping mechanism for that was, you said, prayer.
Prayer, and you're always so busy that you can't focus on your mental capacity, especially the mental capacity that I had to deal with was keeping my sexuality to myself. But you don't have time to even express it to anybody. But it's always the ifs or who or what, who's going to come after you. Plus, that was during the time of course, I was under Clinton. And yes, we were under that rule of don't ask, don't tell. But I really didn't know a lot about it, but I did. But I've always kept that to myself. But I was still afraid.
Yeah. So were there any resources or any ways that you can get some type of support, or was it literally just don't ask, don't tell, don't talk about it?
My friend, if there was help or pamphlets or somebody you could talk to, I wouldn't have gone to it.
Yeah.
But I dealt with it in a different way that someone else probably have. But I couldn't say if it wasn't given to me.
Yeah. So walk me through a little bit of that experience, though. How was that experience for you, though, to internalize all of that and not have that support or have that network of people? Like, what was that like? Like, how did you manage that?
It was managed. That's it. I managed it. I still think about it till today, and it's just living a lie, being covered.
Yeah.
Because people look up to you, and because being gay, bisexual, or whatever, what's instilled in you and the stigma that okay, you got to be macho to be in the Marine Corps. Look, I was in the best, and it's still the best. I don't regret it, but there are some things that happened that I had to hide, but also it did take a toll on me. Sorry if I got away from your question.
Yeah. No. That was, yeah. You pretty much got to it.
And this is the most I've ever talked to anybody about, but yeah.
Oh, well, I'm glad it's with us. So what was the relationship with your comrades? Like, how was that relationship?
Well, my relationship, Desmond, it wasn't violent, but something did happen to me while I was in there that finally I came to accept. But as far as comments or you're this, you're that, or just that haha macho, and you just go along with it or you don't. But I did have those friends and those Marines who also will notice, okay, regardless of what it is, it's bullying. Okay, that's all it is. And they did look after me, and I look after them as well. But it's always wasn't for me to monopolize on it or to confront them or even probably fight about it. But that wasn't in my vernacular at the time. Mine was just to excel, get through, and even do better to serve my country.
Yeah, absolutely. So you weren't out, but there were some that knew your sexuality.
Yes, okay. Yes, but confused. You know what I'm saying? It's like they would try me, and when I say try, nothing but sexual innuendos and jokes. You see what I'm saying? But I didn't bite. I'm blessed that I did have some type of mental capacity, and also I was reared the correct way. But not everybody is reared when I say the correct way, but that's with a positive mind and knowing how to deal with something.
Okay. What does it mean for you after saying that, this No, it's not so difficult. What does it mean to you to have served the country? What does that mean to you?
It gives me pride, but it also breaks my heart, especially with a lot of things that's happened in our past. And that's from George Floyd to the pandemic. And it's also with the hate of our brothers and sisters in the LGBTQ plus community. But I don't regret it, but I have pride, but it almost took me there to where I was like, you know what, forget this, but I still have in my heart, I love my country, but we can do better. But my patience have run thin, but I'm not there. I hope not to get there.
I agree with you. Yeah, and I can understand where you're coming from with that as well. What changes, if any, could the military make to be more inclusive or more aware or more supportive, all of those things, to the LGBTQ community?
Like I said before, the stigma is still there. But I believe that the generation of young adults who are going through the military, it's a lot more accepted now than it was when I was in the 90s. But I'll give them their props for trying, but we can do more. We could do more, but it shouldn't be a target. It shouldn't be like, we shouldn't even be talking about this. But we have things that happen that brings us to this right now.
Yeah. And so do you think that being of the LGBT community could hinder service? Like, could it any way just, be, I know it's probably taken negatively, still to this day. But for people who are going into the military, could that be a hindrance still today?
I would say no, because different lifestyles is a lot more accepted than it was before. Yes, it can hinder, but I never motivated anybody to go in just because you're trying to get away from your past or from bad habits, because it's going to be waiting for you when you get there. That was a little bit reason why I did go, just to prove to myself and others. But no, I remained the same, and it made me better. But I don't think it's going to hinder as much because of what the government has done to accept, but it's how you brought up. It's an education that you receive, but you also get the correct education about genders, about hate, recognizing, if somebody says something, it's not a joke. It's like, okay, but you can call them out in a very professional way, but also let someone know and don't let it slide. Because by letting it slide, you have people who commit suicide, become alcoholics, or whatever kind of bad dependency that hinders their life. There needs to be more support. But before you go in, know what your rights are, but also know who you are and what you're doing.
Absolutely. That's great advice. What was something that... Go ahead.
No, I was saying, I was, when I used to come home for recruitment duty. No, I pretty much told them, I'm not going to make you go in. Make sure you're doing it for you. So I wasn't a good recruiter, but I was.
What would you say is one of the best experiences that you had during your service?
Traveling around the world, seeing different cultures, seeing different people, different human beings, land, just that's pretty much it. Just traveling, and also it gives you more respect for your country, because the things that are going on at the time in the 90s here, and the things that I saw abroad, I'm like, wow. But that what makes me want to continue to, let's say, rear other people and educate them on how to appreciate where you come from first. Because if you don't, you're not going to appreciate anything else, because it's not all roses over here either, but over in other countries, it isn't, but it makes you respect what you have.
Yeah. So would you do it again? Would you serve again?
I would. I would. I would.
So
I would.
tell me why. Walk me through why you would
Because
serve.
of my pride, and I just want the world to do better, but I know what I can offer. Let it be on the battlefield or let it be in the classroom. That's why.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. I didn't expect you to say that you would do it again, and mostly because of what you have to deal with while you were serving.
I'm a lot more confident in who I am. I mean, when I got off of active duty, it was a lot different. But when I re-enlisted after 9/11, my pride was for country.
Yeah.
Was for country, and that's why I volunteered and went back in.
Yeah. So, question for you: for young man, woman, transgender, looking to get into the military, or they're questioning it, what would you say to them? What advice would you give to them?
Seek yourself and hold on, excuse me if I could take that back. Seek self and know yourself. Seek yourself and know yourself. Seek more improvement. Don't just half do it. Go 100%, go 1,000%, but don't give up when things are thrown in your face, when it's out of your control, because you can control it. That would be my advice. But also educate yourself and know who you are.
Yeah, that's some great advice. Very wise, my friend.
Hope so.
So, kind of want to end on a note of, so what's happening with you now? Life here at home. Do you have any projects coming up? Any ways that people can support you, or just what you're doing? What are you doing now?
Well, what I'm doing right now and what I've been doing, I do home health care, but I take care of veterans as well. So that's me still giving back. I enjoy what I do. For many illnesses, it is mentally challenging, but I know I can do it because that's always been my vernacular, is to help others. So I turned it to helping veterans, helping them in their homes, helping them with their family. COVID did stop that for a little bit, but I'm starting to really get back into it, but safely. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm still giving. I volunteer from time to time. Not at COVID and being vaccinated. Hey, I'm ready to start back and get more clients and help my veterans.
Thank you for that, Al. I really appreciate that, and continue to do the work. That's one of the statements that reigns true here for the museum, is making sure that we connect with veterans. We do, things like this, have conversations like this, and just kind of stay connected with that community, because we're here to tell you guys' story, and that's who we are, and we want to continue to do that. So in any ways that we can support here at the museum as well, I'm all for it.
Oh yes.
All right. So thank you again for joining today and sharing your story, and some things that you haven't shared with anybody else. So I like that we had that exclusive, and we look forward to having more conversations like this.
Absolutely. And everybody get vaccinated.
Absolutely. Vaccinated. Fully vaxxed.
Yes. It was a pleasure, Desmond.
Same here. All right, guys. Thank you for joining, guys and gals. Thank you for joining today. I want to thank Adam again for sharing his story. And we want people to be very transparent, very open. Here at the museum, it's, this is our opportunity to say thank you to LGBT veterans, men and women who serve and who are currently serving, sharing your stories, because it's often untold. So see you next time. Thank you. And don't forget to follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Give us a call. Visit our website. If you type us in to Google, you'll be sure to find our information there. We have a night at the museum coming up in July 30th. We're honoring people like Tommy Smith, Olympian Chester Pitts, an NFL athlete. We're adding on to the list, and we're excited about it. There's going to be a virtual and on-site event on July 30th. Other things we have coming up: military-inspired art. Also in July, on July 31st, a full day of workshops, exhibition. We're excited about that. Check us out on our website. We have more information about programs, exhibitions, anything that we have going on, you can find there. Thanks again for joining, and we'll see you next time.